Cody has just voiced the unspoken truth. Frankly, it could be the most truthful statement he's made across 20 seasons. Battle buddies. That's the label he applied to himself and Robyn. Not soulmates, not lovers, not even partners. Battle buddies. And the striking detail, he's employed that phrase twice this season already, and we're merely at episode 7. Allow that to register for a second. Over the years, Cody and Robyn presented themselves as the Romeo and Juliet of polygamy. The star-crossed lovers battling the world, battling envious sister wives, battling anyone who challenged their fated bond. They were meant to be, correct? The universe united them. Their love was so deep, so overwhelming, that it effectively ended 3 other marriages and demolished an entire family unit. But now, they're battle buddies, allies in combat, teammates simply attempting to endure another day in the foxhole together. The facade is crumbling, and what's emerging beneath is utterly captivating to observe. Cody is exerting maximum effort to persuade the audience that monogamy is his ultimate aspiration. He's undertaking every possible action to depict himself as this content, satisfied, blissfully joyful man who can at last direct all his attention toward one woman. He's even divulging details about their private life in manners that are causing profound discomfort for everyone. Yet every episode discloses the contrary. The physical cues convey a separate narrative. The awkward pauses speak loudly. And those 2 small words, battle buddy, expose it all. Because this is what battle buddies truly represent. They're individuals placed together by situation, compelled to depend on one another, to endure a threatening environment. They're not a selected family. They're partners in survival. When military personnel refer to each other as battle buddies, it's about navigating the conflict, not about romance or desire or bond. It's about having someone guarding your rear when conditions turn perilous. And evidently, that's precisely how Cody perceives his marriage to Robyn. Now, they're not constructing a life together. They're enduring one. The genuinely heartbreaking aspect. Robyn recognizes it as well. You can observe it etched across her expression whenever Cody speaks. She appears as if she wishes to escape her own body. The woman who once looked at Cody as though he had placed the moon in the sky now cannot even maintain eye contact with him in their confessional interviews. She's disengaged on mental and emotional levels, yet she's confined, imprisoned in the very marriage she purportedly desired above all else. Season 20 was intended to be Cody and Robyn's triumphant celebration, their opportunity to demonstrate that they were always destined for each other, that all the suffering and devastation was justified because they achieved their fairy tale ending. Instead, what we're seeing is a gradual catastrophe unfolding. 2 individuals who can scarcely tolerate one another, feigning that all is well, while the fissures in their base expand with each episode. And it's bound to deteriorate further from this point. For 19 seasons, Kody Brown regarded intimacy as a taboo term that must never be uttered on camera. Bedroom activities were entirely prohibited. Personal affairs remained confidential, and addressing anything vaguely sexual was deemed crude and improper. Advance to season 20, and abruptly this man cannot cease discussing his sex life. Or more precisely, he cannot stop discussing the sex life he urgently wants everyone to accept he's experiencing. The most recent preview from a forthcoming episode is nearly excruciating to view. Cody is seated there with Robyn, and he launches into this routine about not obtaining much rest the previous night. He's wearing this expression as if he's on the verge of delivering the climax to the greatest joke ever told. He's obviously anticipating Robyn to join in, to offer the audience that conspiratorial grin to assist him in promoting this story that they're so passionately involved, they can hardly restrain themselves from each other. Instead, Robyn simply gazes vacantly forward and states that he never gets sufficient sleep. Lifeless, monotone, absolutely no energy. But Cody persists in pressing. He actually explains that he was only teasing, attempting to imply that he was the one preventing her from sleeping at night, not the children. And then comes Robyn's reply, delivered with all the enthusiasm of someone reciting a shopping list. That would be better. Actually, not precisely the glowing affirmation of their fiery romance that Cody was angling for, is it? What renders this whole interaction so painfully awkward is how frantically Cody strives to project this image of himself as a content monogamous man who is at last receiving everything he requires from one woman. He is trying desperately to persuade the audience that life with only Robyn is satisfying and thrilling and everything he ever desired. But his efforts are failing dramatically because Robyn is refusing to participate. She will not even glance at him during these instances. Her physical cues shout discomfort and lack of interest. Here is what is truly revealing. Every time Cody attempts to brag about their private bond, he actually winds up disclosing the opposite. He speaks about being kept awake at night, but it is not due to romance. It is because their children, ranging from 9 years old to their early 20s, keep disrupting them. He labels Robyn as his battle buddy instead of his lover. He notes how, when they are with the kids, there is no chance for them to connect as a couple. Everything he utters is actually proof that their relationship lacks closeness, desire, and authentic connection. Robyn's unease is obvious. She appears as if she wants to vanish into the sofa cushions every time Cody initiates one of these discussions. And this is not a reserved woman we are discussing. This is someone who spent 19 seasons boldly expressing her views, her emotions, her viewpoint on camera without pause. Suddenly, she is too reserved to participate when Cody discusses their relationship. Please, she is not reserved. She is repulsed. She has the ick, and she can no longer conceal it, regardless of how hard she tries. Now, let us discuss what might be the most alarming disclosure from Season 20 thus far. Cody and Robyn's children, ranging in age from 9 years old to 22, apparently cannot stop entering their parents' bedroom at night. According to Cody, it is child after child after child, one immediately following another, seeking love and attention and conversation with mom. And this is not occurring sporadically. This is portrayed as their standard daily routine. Let us analyze precisely how disturbing this circumstance actually is. Ariella is 9 years old at the time of filming. Certainly, a 9-year-old needing mom or dad occasionally at night is not entirely abnormal. Perhaps she has a nightmare. Perhaps she is not feeling well. Perhaps she simply needs comfort. That falls within the scope of typical childhood conduct. But Cody specifically states it is multiple children rotating through their bedroom. That means we are also discussing Solomon, who is around 13, and Brianna, who is 20 or 21 years old at this point. Aurora, as Robyn informed us in the last episode, is 22 years old. Allow that figure to truly register for a moment. We are talking about adult children who are routinely entering their parents' bedroom at night for attention and conversation. This is not normal. This indicates emotional dysfunction and stunted development. What 22-year-old needs to disrupt their parents' bedroom for a discussion and some affection on a regular basis? What does this reveal about the emotional well-being and independence of these young adults? The pattern Cody describes implies a household where boundaries do not exist, and where the children have cultivated an unhealthy degree of reliance on their mother. Sources near the family have long murmured about the troubling dynamics in Robyn's household, especially regarding Aurora and her anxious attachment to her mother. But hearing Cody nonchalantly describe this as their nightly norm confirms exactly how dysfunctional matters have grown behind closed doors. What is even more indicative is that Cody specifically mentions the kids entering for love, attention, and conversation with mom. Not with both parents, not seeking out dad. They want mom. This exposes another uneasy reality. Cody is equally distant and detached from Robyn's children, as he was with the offspring from his previous marriages. He may be physically there in the house, but emotionally, he has disengaged. These children do not regard him as a provider of comfort or bonding. They view him as the man who simply resides there with their mother. Recall that uncomfortable moment when Cody attempted casual conversation with Aurora and her boyfriend. He stumbled through it like an outsider encountering his daughter for the first time. That is because, in many respects, he is an outsider to these children, despite sharing the same roof. He has never committed to genuine parenting. He has never forged those profound bonds. And now, even in the single household where he is meant to be entirely involved, he remains an outsider, while his adult and teenage children create an unhealthy, codependent group with their mother that completely shuts him out. Let us examine what Robyn's physical cues are truly conveying, because they are shouting louder than any statements could. In every episode this season, we are observing a woman who can hardly tolerate being in the same space as her husband. The proof is abundant if you recognize the signs. In their confessional interviews, Robyn declines to meet Cody's gaze. When he attempts to involve her in his awkward efforts at flirting or joking about their private life, she stares directly forward as if she is mentally absent. Her expression stays neutral and vacant while he frantically seeks any response from her. This is not the conduct of a reserved woman. This is not someone who is camera shy or uneasy with focus. This is a woman who is entirely withdrawn from her marriage and can no longer conceal it. For 19 seasons, Robyn had no difficulty voicing herself on camera. She wept, she laughed, she revealed personal details about her emotions and experiences. She engaged in fervent discussions about her relationship with Cody. She locked eyes with him intensely during interviews, looking at him with worship and loyalty. That woman has vanished, gone, replaced by someone who appears to be counting the seconds until filming ends so she can flee. The transformation is utterly astonishing when you contrast the present Robyn with the Robyn from prior seasons. Remember how she used to brighten whenever Cody walked in. Remember how she would touch his arm, lean toward him, pursue physical contact? Now she positions herself as far from him as possible while preserving the minimal illusion of being a couple. Her shoulders are rigid, her jaw is tight. Every aspect of her posture conveys discomfort and bitterness. And let us utterly dismantle this story that Robyn has abruptly become reserved about personal matters. This is the same woman who had no issue talking about her purity and how unique her bond with Cody was compared to his ties with the other wives. She was never hesitant about emphasizing that what she shared with Cody was distinct, more profound, more significant. She actually wore a purity token around her neck and discussed it on national television. But now, she is too reserved to participate when Cody discusses their relationship. Absolutely not. What we are observing is not reservation. It is disgust. The ick is genuine, and it is overwhelming her. That sensation when you abruptly view your partner in a new light and everything they do becomes irritating or unattractive. Robyn has it severely. The manner in which Cody speaks, the way he gestures, the humor he attempts, his frantic efforts to appear virile and content. All of it causes her to want to escape her own body. You can observe it in how her expression constricts whenever he talks. You can observe it in how she physically withdraws when he attempts to touch her or involve her. Insiders near the production have murmured that the strain between them off-camera is even more intense than what appears on air. The editing is actually granting them leniency, removing some of the most awkward instances where their mutual contempt becomes undeniable. Here is the reality that Kody Brown will never voice aloud. Monogamy was never going to succeed for him. Not because he is unable to love one woman, but because what truly excites Cody, what he requires like air, has nothing to do with profound emotional bonds or sacred unions. What Cody desires, what he needs, is attention. Endless, plentiful, rivalrous attention from numerous sources. And now that he is reduced to just one wife, who can scarcely glance at him, he is gradually asphyxiating. David Woolley, Christine's new husband, delivered a complete revelation in a recent preview clip that precisely encapsulates what drives men like Cody. When talking about polygamous arrangements, David stated outright that the majority of polygamous men he has encountered, and he has encountered hundreds, relish the conflict and rivalry among women. They flourish on it. That is not conjecture or bitter ex-wife rumor. That is first-hand insight from someone raised in that environment who comprehends the mindset behind it. Consider what genuinely brought Cody joy during his years of plural marriage. Was it the profound spiritual ties? Was it cultivating unique relationships with each wife? Absolutely not. What energized Cody was having multiple women vying for his focus, his schedule, and his affection. He loved being the trophy they battled over. He loved one wife preparing his eggs superior to another. He loved someone pressing his clothes exactly to his preference. He loved being the confidant they wept to when complaining about one another. He loved the turmoil, the rivalry, the ongoing affirmation that came from being the focal point of multiple women's worlds. Cody functioned on a reward-driven system like a puppy or a young child craving approval and rewards. Every praise, every display of fondness, every instance of jealousy among his wives nourished his ego and made him feel significant and wanted. That is what maintained his involvement. That is what made him feel vital. And now he has Robyn, who will not even meet his gaze anymore. No rivalry, no turmoil, no multiple women competing for his notice. Just one deeply unhappy wife and a home filled with emotionally reliant adult children. The irony is utterly delectable. Cody demolished his entire family framework, severed ties, with 3 wives and most of his children, all to concentrate solely on Robyn. He asserted that was what he desired, what he required to be genuinely content. But now that he has precisely what he purportedly wanted, he is wretched because what he truly wanted was never Robyn in particular. What he wanted was to be desired, to be contested over, to be the most vital person in multiple lives at once. Watch Cody on Special Forces, and you witness exactly what David described. Cody is like a puppy frantic for approval and encouragement. He yearns for validation and acclaim. One woman, no matter how dedicated she once was, will never suffice to fill that emptiness, especially when that one woman has entirely disengaged and regards him as an unwanted visitor who has lingered too long. Remember when Cody and Robyn were the grand prohibited romance of sister wives? The story was nearly romantic in a distorted sense. Here were two soulmates fated by the cosmos for each other, compelled to love in secrecy while contending with envious sister wives who simply could not grasp their deep bond. They were Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers battling a world that sought to separate them. The tension, the concealment, the drama of it all. That is what rendered their relationship thrilling. That is what sustained the flame. But here is the reality about forbidden love tales. They only function when there is opposition to overcome. The excitement is not truly in the relationship itself. It is in the barriers. It is in the covert meetings, the fleeting encounters, the us against the world attitude. Once you eliminate the outside forces, once you eliminate the turmoil and the rivalry and the prohibited aspect of it all, what actually remains in Cody and Robyn's situation? Not much. Evidently, for years, their relationship flourished on being the root of discord within the family. Christine was wounded by it. Janelle was irritated by the favoritism. Mary was crushed by being sidelined. That tension, that drama, that ongoing evidence that Cody selected Robyn over everyone else. That is what made Robyn feel unique. That is what made Cody feel dominant. They were not merely in love. They were in love in spite of everyone else's disapproval, and that rendered it meaningful and vital. Advanced to the present, and no one is concerned anymore. Christine has progressed and discovered authentic joy with David. Janelle is prospering in her autonomy. Even Mary has at last acknowledged the truth and advanced with her life. There is no battle remaining to conquer. There is no one attempting to separate Cody and Robyn. They obtained precisely what they desired. Total liberty to be together without meddling from sister wives or family turmoil. And what is the result? Without all that external disorder, their relationship has nothing remaining to uphold it. What we are observing now is two individuals who were always more like battle buddies than soulmates at last compelled to face that truth. They were bonded by a mutual adversary. The other wives, the condemnation from the family, the intricacy of plural marriage. Eliminate that adversary, eliminate that shared hardship, and they are merely two people who do not actually like each other very much. They do not wish to be soulmates constructing a lovely life together. They do not even wish to be roommates occupying space. They literally cannot tolerate each other. The Romeo and Juliet analogy actually fits better than Cody ever meant, because what occurs in that tale? The lovers do not achieve their happiness ever after. Their relationship was always condemned, founded on passion and defiance rather than true compatibility. The tragedy is not that they were kept apart. The tragedy is that their love was never viable to begin with. Sound familiar? Cody and Robyn's story is tracing the exact same path, except instead of dying young, they are trapped, enduring the gradual, agonizing awareness that they demolished everything for nothing. Let us be honest about Robyn's circumstances because it is actually more intricate and sorrowful than it might seem on the surface. Unlike Christine, Janelle, and Mary, Robyn has absolutely no independent revenue sources outside of the Sister Wives franchise. She is not marketing Plexus. She is not operating a bed and breakfast. She is not developing a personal brand or enterprise. Her entire financial existence is linked to two things, the show and Cody. And that places her in a highly vulnerable position that the other wives never encountered. Here is where it becomes truly fascinating. Robyn is Cody's legal wife. That means everything he possesses is half hers, and everything she possesses is half his. They are financially intertwined in ways that render separation extraordinarily complex and potentially ruinous for both of them. The McMansion they just relocated into, that is marital property. All those doll collectibles Robyn is fixated on, marital property. The cruise ship art adorning their walls, you guessed it. Everything is shared. Everything is convoluted. and disentangling it all would demand attorneys, discussions, and a highly public admission that their relationship collapsed. But there is another element at play here that is equally crucial. Robyn has not accumulated sufficient social goodwill yet to successfully transition into her ex-wife phase the way Christine, Janelle, and Mary have. The audience still predominantly regards her as the antagonist who shattered the family. She does not have the sympathy advantage. She does not have the underdog story. If she departed from Kody right now, she would not receive the same welcoming embrace and backing that the other wives obtained. She would be perceived as a hypocrite who ruined everything only to depart when it suited her. So what does Robyn do? She remains. She feigns. She enacts the part of a content monogamous wife while perishing internally. She masks her utter disgust toward Kody by asserting she is merely reserved and uneasy with personal topics on camera. She continues persuading Kody to participate in reality programs like Special Forces so she can obtain brief respites from him, a week here and there where she does not have to pretend to endure his company. She is essentially a captive to the lifestyle she has grown accustomed to. And let us discuss that lifestyle for a moment. Robyn has costly preferences and costly routines. She has become habituated to residing in large, exquisitely furnished homes. She has become habituated to her vast assortment of pricey dolls and artwork. She has become habituated to a certain level of living that demands steady income to sustain. Without the sister wives' revenue, without access to Kody's resources, she would need to drastically reduce her scale and alter her entire mode of life. That is a frightening outlook for someone who possesses no occupational skills, no independent profession, and no fallback. Sources near the family indicate Robyn is fully conscious of her dilemma. Rumor has it she would prefer to be wretched in her comfortable enclosure than liberated but financially strained. She will compensate her 20-year-old children to rotate through her bedroom every night, forfeiting any chance of closeness with Kody rather than relinquish her McMansion and her collections. The cost of her luxury lifestyle is her happiness, and evidently that is a bargain she is prepared to accept for now. Here is one of the most condemning disclosures plainly visible this season. Kody Brown is equally absent and detached from Robyn's children as he was from all the offspring in his other marriages. The sole distinction now is that he is physically present in the house while remaining entirely emotionally unavailable. He is a spectral father drifting through the corridors of the McMansion, yet never truly participating in actual parenting or forging authentic bonds with the children residing there. Revisit that segment where Kody details the kids entering their bedroom at night. Pay close attention to his precise phrasing. He states, "The children come in seeking love, attention, and conversation with mom. Not with both parents, not with dad, with mom." That small detail unveils everything about the family interactions in that home. These children, aged from 9 to 22, do not perceive Kody as a provider of solace, backing, or attachment. They seek their mother. Kody is merely the man who happens to be present. Recall the profoundly uncomfortable moment from earlier this season when Kody tried casual dialogue with Aurora and her boyfriend. It was excruciating to observe. He stumbled through elementary exchange as if encountering his daughter for the first time. He lacked knowledge of what to say, how to bond, or how to interact with her in any significant manner. That is not the result of a father who has devoted years to nurturing a relationship with his child. That is the outcome when a father has been emotionally absent for so long that he is essentially an outsider sharing the same residence. The pattern is unmistakable. Kody has dedicated decades to prioritizing his own desires, his own self-importance, and his relationship conflicts over genuinely appearing as a parent. He was never the one assisting with assignments, attending school functions, or holding profound talks with his children. That role always fell to the mothers. Kody's role was to cycle between homes, absorb admiration and focus, and enact the patriarch without performing the labor of parenting. Now, even in the single household where he has no justification for absence, even when he sleeps under the same roof every night, he remains uninvolved. He is still not the parent these children approach when they require something. Robyn has become the exclusive emotional pillar for all her children, which accounts for so much regarding the codependent, boundary-less interactions in that house. Those children have learned that mom is the only dependable parent, and they have organized their entire emotional existence around her because dad has never appeared in any substantive way. Industry sources have long murmured about the troubling interactions in Robyn's household, especially concerning how her older children grapple with autonomy and emotional control, but it is unsurprising when one considers they have effectively been raised by a single mother despite a father living in the home. Cody supplies financial resources and occupies space, but that is the extent of it. He is a housemate who occasionally emerges on camera to declare how wonderful his life is, not a truly involved parent investing in his children's lives and welfare. An intriguing pattern is surfacing that is simple to overlook unless one is attentively observing. Cody continues being persuaded to participate in additional reality programs beyond Sister Wives, and rumors indicate Robyn is the one subtly promoting these endeavors. Special Forces. World's Toughest Test was merely the most recent instance. On the surface, it appears odd. Why would Cody voluntarily enroll in a physically and emotionally grueling competition program? But once the true incentive is understood, it becomes entirely logical. These programs grant Robyn precisely what she urgently requires: time apart from Cody. Consider it from Robyn's viewpoint. She is confined in this marriage for all the financial and social factors already outlined. She cannot depart without demolishing her comfortable way of life and encountering public examination. Yet she can also scarcely endure Cody's proximity anymore. The answer? Remove him from the house for prolonged stretches while preserving the facade that they remain a cohesive pair. Reality programs offer the ideal pretext. A week or two of filming intermittently and abruptly, Robyn obtains welcome respite from having to gaze at his face and feign that all is well. Sources near production indicate that Robyn was unexpectedly eager about Cody participating in Special Forces, not because she believed it would benefit him or aid in resolving his problems, but because it meant his absence. She could relax. She could reside in her home without the persistent strain of upholding the pretense. She could be alone with her children without needing to handle Cody's ego or join in his frantic efforts to demonstrate their mutual happiness. But here is where it becomes truly calculated. These reality program appearances fulfill another role for Robyn beyond mere temporary relief. They are assisting her in accumulating social goodwill and altering public view. Each time Cody surfaces on another program and exposes more of his narcissistic, self-centered traits, Robyn earns sympathy by proximity. Audiences begin perceiving her as the enduring wife, managing an unmanageable man rather than the antagonist who shattered the family. She is gradually, meticulously repositioning herself in the arena of public judgment. Reports are emerging that Robyn is planning far ahead. She cannot abandon Cody presently without incurring substantial criticism and financial repercussions. But if she executes the extended strategy, if she persists in allowing Cody to reveal himself as challenging and self-focused across various platforms, if she keeps presenting as the patient, accommodating wife tolerating his conduct, ultimately the story changes. Ultimately, when she does depart, people will comprehend the reason. They will back her. They will regard her as another casualty of Cody's self-interest rather than the designer of the family's collapse. The chatter in Hollywood networks is that Robyn is decidedly playing chess, while Cody believes they are playing checkers. Every reality program appearance, every uneasy interview, every instance of evident friction between them, it is all proof she is gathering. She is constructing her argument both legally and in the tribunal of public opinion. And when the moment is optimal, when she has aligned herself ideally, she will execute her action. Mark these words, because what is about to be stated is going to occur sooner than anyone anticipates. Within 5 years, perhaps even sooner, we are going to see Robyn Brown depart from Cody as well. And when it occurs, it is going to astonish absolutely no one who has been observing the signs on the wall this season. Every single episode is establishing the foundation for the unavoidable collapse of the final remaining Brown marriage. The proof is abundant if you are prepared to recognize it. Robyn can scarcely glance at Cody anymore. Her physical cues convey misery and bitterness. She is noticeably uneasy every time he attempts to touch her or involve her in dialogue. The ick has embedded itself so profoundly that she cannot conceal it anymore, regardless of how skilled an actress she believes she is. This is not a difficult period. This is not a passing stage. This is a woman who has fundamentally disengaged from her marriage and is simply awaiting the ideal moment to formalize her departure. Behind closed doors, sources murmur that the strain is even more severe than what reaches our screens. The editing team is actually granting them leniency. removing the instances where their mutual disdain becomes undeniable. They are not arguing because that would demand caring enough to dispute. They are merely coexisting in the same area, performing the routines, counting down until they can evade each other's company. That is not a marriage that rebounds. That is a marriage in its final throes. Examine the path of Kody's relationships. Mary, Christine, and Janelle all arrived at their limits and departed after years of neglect, favoritism, and emotional mistreatment. What leads anyone to believe his relationship with Robyn will differ? The pattern is utterly evident. Kody is incapable of sustaining a healthy, satisfying relationship over the long term. He is too narcissistic, too self-centered, too concentrated on his own requirements to ever truly appear as a partner. Robyn is simply undergoing what the other wives endured, except she lacks the justification of sister-wife turmoil to attribute it to. This is entirely Kody all the time, with no one else to soften his worst traits. The true irony, the complete poetic justice of this whole circumstance. Kody could wind up entirely alone. The man who once had 4 wives and 18 children might discover himself deserted by everyone because he declined to appreciate any of them appropriately. He demolished his family for Robyn, and when Robyn departs, what will remain for him? A few adult children who can scarcely tolerate him, a reputation as a failed patriarch, and the overwhelming awareness that he discarded everything that mattered for a woman who ultimately could not bear the sight of him either. Robyn is already aligning herself for the departure. She is accumulating sympathy, handling finances, and biding time for the perfect instant to execute her action while safeguarding her interests. And when she finally walks away, she will take half of everything with her, leaving Kody precisely where he belongs, alone, resentful, and compelled to face the repercussions of his decisions. So, what do you think? Is Robyn already orchestrating her escape, or will she remain confined in this wretched marriage indefinitely? Share your opinions in the comments below. Ensure you like this video and subscribe to remain informed, because the next phase of this Brown family catastrophe is approaching, and believe me, you will not want to miss what unfolds next.